Welcome to Thriving Relationships with Jessica Hartley. We are live here at the KHTS studio in beautiful downtown Santa Clarita. It is nice and sunny today. Woo-hoo. And you can catch us on Facebook Live when they're not down. And also by downloading the app, the KHTS app, to your smartphone. So I'm Jessica Hartley, relationship coach and founder of the Legendary Love Program. And today our topic for our show is all about the power of the sacred feminine. This is so important to me. It is something that I'm really, really passionate about. And when I say power, what I really mean is just really stepping into our assets and our strengths and then developing them, and then also learn how to control our weaknesses. And when we can do both of those things, we are grounded, we are on point, we are influential, we are in our power, and both, I think that the masculine and the feminine, we both have amazing qualities that are so essential. And in the time that we are alive right now, in the ways that we have been conditioned and in the norms that we have been conditioned, the feminine has been either suppressed or we just have not developed it, or we just don't understand how to use it. And so that's what I'm here to talk about. And actually, we have a workshop coming up very soon that my sister and I are going to be facilitating. And this workshop is called The Sacred Feminine in Love, and it's for all of the people in Santa Clarita who are, all the women in Santa Clarita who really want to step into this, who really want to take a better understanding of what our strengths are, what are our assets, and what are our strengths, and then how to develop them, and then secondly, how to take account for what our weaknesses are. So to notice those and then to learn how to control them, to put them in check, and to eliminate them so that we can be at our best. So Elizabeth, thank you for coming on to the show.
Hi, what's up? I'm happy to be here. I'm really honored to watch my sister in action, and I'm really honored to be a part of this event with you. I'm very excited.
Yes. And my sister, as you might be able to tell, is very spunky and free-flowing and just joyful, really in the moment, kind of a free spirit kind of a girl. And she radiates joy all around her, and she has so many friends. I mean, she is friends with everyone. She's so beautiful, and she shines a big, bright light. So, and I'll have you know, the deeper reason that she's actually joining me in this workshop is because she is phenomenal at her facilitating yoga. I've been to a few of her classes, and she really blew me away. And, being a sibling or a sister, I've got to have more judgment and criticism towards my sibling than anyone else in the world. So for me to say that and to be impressed by her is big. I'll just have you know. Woohoo! So anyways, our Sacred Feminine workshop in love is all about using the sacred feminine for love and relationship. And the way that we're going to facilitate it is so unique and also so necessary. We are going to bridge the understanding of, the discovery of, the cognitive awareness of, through workshop and through things that we're going to present, as well as bridging the physical realm, moving through the concepts that we're learning and discussing and understanding and releasing. We're going to do some releasing of our weaknesses and stepping into our power. And so my sister Liz is going to facilitate that part of the workshop, where she is going to help us move through those. If anyone is practices yoga, or even if you don't, you might understand that there are a few yoga poses and different things that you can do that really embody certain characteristics. For example,
opening your heart. That's a really big one. A lot of times, especially because we're Angelinos and we're always in a car and we're always sitting behind our desk. And so we're always rounding forward. And so to be able to take a deep breath, right? it, Even a deep breath just like that will open up your heart. And it creates space here. And so much of the time, a lot of times we might feel blocked, or we want to protect ourselves. So we put up our walls. And yoga really helps you open up and express yourself in a completely new perspective.
Yes, beautiful. And one of the things that this workshop is going to do is to be able to bridge that. So I don't know if you can feel into how powerful that's going to be, because when you bridge the mental and the cognitive with the physical, some people, there are so many different modalities to healing, right? Yoga can be one of them. Moving through childhood wounds or healing that stuff could be another one. Taking workshops and gaining more knowledge is another one. And so what we're really doing is bridging those two realms so it can be effective, and so that it can integrate more powerfully than just one of those modalities alone. And so it's a very unique and special thing that we're bringing and creating together to the community. So let's just start with, well, first, let me just first ask you, Liz, what brought you into yoga and what drew you into that modality?
Okay, so I first started to do yoga because through a friend, right? So a friend brought me in, and I was like, oh, I'm not sure about it. And once I finally went to my first class, it was a therapeutics class. And basically, you just laid there in Shavasana, which is laying on your back in a very relaxed pose. And there was sound, healing sounds, and things like that. And you focus on your breath, and there's aromatherapy in the room. So it's like really bringing in all these senses, using your senses, as well as allowing yourself to allow the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest, to kick in and be able to reduce stress that way. And I immediately saw the benefits of that, and I felt the benefits of that. And that's like my very first class that like changed my perspective completely.
Yeah, so you saw how moving through the physical was actually helpful to you.
Yeah, of course, for sure.
Beautiful. So let's get started talking a little bit about what our feminine strengths and assets are. And I love men, okay, specifically my husband, but I want to also honor that this is not about putting men out of that place of honor. I very much honor my husband. He's this very sacred person in my life, and also very nurturing and loving and important. And the way that is important for us to understand the masculine feminine dynamic, I think the best way to understand it is the yin yang symbol. It's sort of this where you have this majority of one side with then a little dot of the other, and so this is how the masculine and feminine are meant to thrive in balance. And when we can honor the good in them and honor and step into the good in us, the strengths in us, the assets that we have, and all of those things, then we can come into balance. And what we are in and experiencing right now is a deficit of that feminine, because there are so many things. There are things that we've either been conditioned to vilify the feminine power and assets, or we've been conditioned to objectify the feminine power and assets, or we just don't know what they are, and we've never been taught really how to step into them in a mature way. And so sometimes what we end up doing is stepping into them immaturely, and then they backfire on us. And that's not good either. So we're seeing all of this happening. And then when you look at the world at large, you see that a lot of the masculine stuff is backfiring on them because they are not being sort of checked and balanced by the feminine and masculine. So it really is a call to rise up into the best that we have to offer as women, and to create a better balance for ourselves and the world.
And I just have something to add to that. As far as the difference of masculine and feminine energy, a lot of times people feel like, well, I'm a man, so I'm masculine, or I'm a woman, so I'm feminine. But really, if you dive into more of a higher conscious level, you embody both. And so, for example, just to say for me, I'm very much in my masculine energy when I am working and I am taking action and I am making plans and goal setting and things like that. That's very masculine energy. And when I am in my feminine, it's like dancing in my kitchen with my dog. So just to give you where you can have balance, everyone embodies both. And so to be able to tap into and figure out where the balance lies is very beneficial on an individual basis.
Yeah, so at times we step into the masculine or the feminine. And here's the thing, why this sort of understanding and study became so important to me is because the work that I do is in healing relationships and teaching a relationship how to thrive. And what I realized is that the relationship world lives in the feminine world. You know, it's all about nurturing and bringing things together and collaborating and empathy and understanding and giving and receiving and all of these things. And all of those are feminine traits. You know, so it really lives in the feminine world. And that's one of the things that I'm here standing up to say and to represent and to teach to women is that this is where we take the lead. We're not supposed to even to go without a voice in relationship, and we're not supposed to try to meet our partner halfway. You know, I hear that so many times. I need my partner to meet me halfway, and he's not, so I give up. And it's like, whoa, woman, come on, my lady, my girl. You have more power than that. And you've got this power of influence, and maybe you just haven't stepped into fully embracing it, or maybe you don't know exactly how to use it. And that's what I'm here to share and to teach, you know, especially through this workshop that we have coming up. And then if you look at the work world, you know, that's the masculine world. Mm-hmm. That's the world of, you know, competition and structure and logic and reason and cause and effect and all of these things. The mental world, the analytical, the logical, you know.
The left brain. Right?
The left brain, yes. So what I did was for our listeners, I put together a list, I think also for everyone, to identify where the feminine strengths are and then also where the masculine are. Mm-hmm. So women are generally more right-brained and men are more left-brained. Women, they are heart-centered, where men are head-centered. And women get inspired towards things, and men have more courage and determination towards things. The women world of relationships and the men world of cause and effect, or the work world. Women move through flow. Men like to move through structure. Women are accommodating, whereas men are assertive. Women are open, while men are directing. Women are more of the listeners, while men are the speakers. Women are more collaborative, wanting to work together, where men are more competitive. Women value values, whereas men value logic. Women are creative and imaginative, and men are more reasonable and focused on the cause and effect. Women are better at multitasking. Men are better at laser focus. Women have a collective worldview versus men having an individualistic worldview. We're interdependent, meaning we like to work with each other and within ourselves. And men are independent. We feel into empathy, understanding, and emotions, whereas men are more unemotional and detached from emotions, and they're more in the ego world. Women can sense into their feelings and value the emotional depth, whereas men value results, outcomes, and goals. Women can touch into sensuality, while men are better at touching into productivity. Women are bearers of giving life, nurturing growth. And men tend to be more death, distance, and destroying oriented. Women are concerned with being, while men are concerned with doing and action. Women are better at the process. Like nurturing itself is a process, versus men are more concerned with achieving the goal and getting the results. We want to do the planning, and the men will want to get that reward. Women are intuitive and men are logical, and women are integrating while men are differentiating. So when you say, Liz, that you reside sometimes in your masculinity, where do you feel that you fall in that masculine?
On a daily basis or in general? Just about...
In general, sure.
Okay, so I just first want to say that is such a great comparison and really clarifies for people. And if you're inspired by this and it resonates, then you can go and dive in and come to our workshop, and we're going to really get really into all this and being able to tap into that. So the question for me was, where do I reside in my masculine?
Well, yes. Do you want to share that?
Okay. So when I'm in my masculine, that's when, kind of how I explained a little bit earlier, where goal-oriented, working and taking action. So I teach yoga, and I mainly do privates, like one-on-one. So for me to tell someone, move into this pose or breathe this way, or tap into your body, I'm guiding them, right? So that is masculine, my masculinity coming out. And then so in work, and then also in relationships, this is something that I have definitely done a lot of work around, and being able to realize that I can be in my masculine at work, but when I come home to my partner, then I need to be able to switch and soften and step into my feminine, because I want to be able to have that yin and that yang with my partner. And so that's been something that I'm really excited to share at the workshop, and hopefully that will resonate with someone else.
Yeah, and also it is also about being able to step into both, and you don't have to necessarily switch. It could be just, I'm going to bring out this great masculine quality that I have right now, and it could be in work or it could be in relationship. For example, we need more feminine qualities in the work world right now, because there's that lack of that, or in leadership of our country or different things like that, we need that to show up there. It's not that we have to turn it on or turn it off. We want to learn how to integrate it in a way where we're still honoring the feminine and the masculine. And I have another really great thing that I want to share about how the feminine has how our brains work, but we'll have to do that right after the break. So in just a few moments, we'll be right back. This is Jessica Hartley, and you're listening to The Thriving Relationships.
Do you ever listen, but you're not really paying attention? Sort of like what you're doing to me right now. This is Alex Urbina, your advanced life coach specialist. One of the most frequent questions I hear is, what is a life coach? Well, tune in every Friday at noon to learn the value of having a coach and listen to a live coaching session on the radio. Right here on your hometown station, KHTS.
Women Women have a natural power to nurture and heal our relationships, but our strength is not in demanding, begging, settling, or running away. We're more grounded than that. No matter how depleted you feel, you can save this relationship and fuel the warmth of a solid, lasting marriage. When you step into your radiance, you'll naturally influence loyalty, trust, connection, and passion from your partner. The Legendary Love Program has been healing relationships from the brink of divorce all over Santa Clarita. Check it out at jessicahartley.com/program. Love is worth it.
It's no secret that heavy-duty cleaning chemicals can be toxic for babies and pets and even adults. EcoGreen Clean SEV can put your worries at ease. EcoGreen Clean SEV only uses organic, environmentally friendly products, reducing the risk of health issues for any age. EcoGreen cleaners use essential oils that lend to aroma therapeutic benefits. Eco cleaners are reliable, thorough, and all cleanings are guaranteed. You even get an organic chocolate on your pillow. Local owned and operated by a single mom who started this organic business 5 years ago. For more information or to book a cleaning, call 993-9136.
Kyle, guess what's coming up?
It's the KHTS Home and Garden Show at Emergency Expo.
April 27th and 28th at Central Park.
Free admission.
Over one weekend, over 20,000 homeowners, Santa Clarita homeowners, visit this every single year.
It's one of the biggest home shows in not just Southern California, but California.
My favorite is the marketplace.
It's local craft stuff. It's awesome.
A lot of activities for the kids. They've got the petting zoo, pony rides. But if you want to be a part of this, there is always room for your business.
That's true. And this is an opportunity that is like no other. You're going to get, like you just said, about 20,000 people over the weekend to come and check out your business. So there's still vendor opportunities available.
That's the only question I have. If a vendor is listening right now and they say to themselves, that's what I want to be a part of, now what?
You can call 298-1220, 298-1220, or go to scvhomeshow.com.
Drug and alcohol use can lead to troubles at school or work, relationship problems, financial or legal difficulties, medical and psychiatric issues. I'm Bob Sheritz, the host of the Way Out Recovery Hour, airing every Monday at noon. The Way Out Recovery Hour features prominent guests and organizations discussing the epidemic of drugs and alcohol in our valley. Don't miss the Way Out Recovery Hour every Monday at noon. Don't lose hope. There is a solution. Knowledge is power. There is the way out.
Pure Birth's Pregnancy and Wellness is Santa Clarita's newest birth center, offering holistic prenatal care, water births, labor and delivery, and postpartum care. Owned and operated by California Medical Board licensed midwife Tiffany Gallo, who has been serving expected families in the SCV for over a decade. Pure Births is also a Medi-Cal birth center. If you want to experience a natural birth with the freedom to birth your way in a safe and professional environment, contact Pure Births on Tournament Road near McBean, purebirths.com.
Your hometown station.
As soon as I leave my house in Saugus, I always turn on KHTS for the latest traffic updates.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back to Thriving Relationships. This is Jessica Hartley, and we're here at KHTS, and we are talking all about the sacred feminine. My sister, Liz, is here with me, and she is an amazing yoga facilitator and teacher, among many other things. And she will be facilitating the Sacred Feminine in Love workshop with myself. And I am excited to get that going. Woo. But anyway, so we were just talking about the differences, the greatness between men and women, the best qualities in women and the best qualities in men. And we just talked about some of those assets and those strengths that women have. And, you know, for example, there are things that we have not tapped into. We have not tapped into our power of intuition, which is so powerful. We have not tapped into our ability to influence. You know, that's the thing where I see women lacking the most is we feel like, we need them to meet us halfway, or I can't do this because they're unwilling, or whatever it is. And it's like, no, we have this influential power. We just have to know how to develop and use it. And, you know, being able to move through our sense of being and our nurturing and our listening. And, you know, for example, problem solving or moving through resolving conflict is our strength. It is a strength that women have. Now, here's something that's unique about women is that men are left brain dominant, right? Right? No, left. So men are left brain dominant, and women tend to reside in the right brain. But something unique about women is that we are also much more capable than men, generally speaking, to be able to go across and access both sides of the brain at the same time. So we have a greater number of neural pathways in the corpus callosum of our brain, which is basically that bridge center that connects the left and the right brain. And that's a quality that women have naturally. So what does that mean? That means that we are also some of our strengths are better at strategic planning, meaning like planning and the creativity that goes around it, problem solving, looking at the big picture, brainstorming, impulse control, collaboration with others, and ethical solutions and things like that. So we have access to both, and I believe that we haven't been using that. That's something that we have. Maybe we didn't know that we had that capacity, but hey, you guys, we have it. So let's use it. Let's develop it. And so sometimes we don't know that we have something, and sometimes we haven't developed it, so we don't know how to use it. But if it's a skill that we naturally have, if it's our asset, then we need to step fully into that and then use it for our relationship, use it for the world, use it for affecting all of our relationships, parent and child, friendships, spouse, love, dating, the world, politics, tribes, yeah, everything. So this is something that is really unique to women. So we have that capacity. So here is what it takes to really step into the power of the sacred feminine. One is that we have to master ourselves. We have to start with self-mastery. And this means to know and develop our strengths, and then to also control, get in check, and understand what our weaknesses are.
And instead of weaknesses, I like to just call them places for improvement.
It's a very positive spin.
Thanks.
Yes, but essentially, I think it's important to say, like, hey, I've got a weakness. Just like a man would have a weakness in a relationship. That's not his forte. That's not where he would thrive naturally. He has to develop that. Yeah. He has to get centered, get aware, get conscious, and develop where he might have some inability or low ability.
Mm-hmm. Or we can call them flaws. And then when we are super aware of our flaws, we can be flawsome and just be really awesome about our flaws because we understand them and we still love ourselves anyways.
Yes. So when we talk about what we need to do for self-mastery, we've just discussed some of our strengths, which are very powerful. And the thing is about our strengths is that we've either been conditioned to not value them, or we've not even developed them. And when it comes to our weaknesses, we have been conditioned to react with our weaknesses. For example, some of our weaknesses are our codependency, getting needy, controlling, demanding. It's like if we want to influence, we either don't speak at all or we demand. We nag, we need, we set ultimatums or things like that. And it's like, these are our weaknesses. They're not our strength because that is not how women influence. That is us going into, trying to go into the masculine world in the way of influence through aggression or brawn or force.
Through the masculine energy.
Yeah, and that's not the most effective way for us. So some of our weaknesses are our needs for approval or outside validation. And when we get into this place, it consumes us. It takes over who we are, and then we lose our power. We lose our strength because we're now in this weakness of this need for validation or this need for approval. Other weaknesses that we have are when we cannot navigate our emotions effectively, and we lose our temper, or we have an outburst, or we have an emotional reaction to things, because we are so much more closely tied to our emotions. That can also be, some of our strengths can lead into a weakness if we don't check it and if we don't control it, if we don't learn how to do that, and so that's something where we have to learn how to control that.
For example, obviously, our relationships are our biggest places of work, right, for our inner work. And when our triggers come up, right, so you have an argument or a disagreement, really, with your partner or with a friend or family member, and are you reacting or are you responding? And that is when you can be in touch with the emotions that are coming up and actually notice, like, oh, I'm feeling anger or annoyance. And then being like, oh, I'm feeling this way. And I to be able to take a step away and step back from that and self-reflect, right? Because our partners and relationships are mirrors. So to be able to step back and be like, why am I triggered? Where did this come from? And this is something that Jessica is like taught me so much of, and we have a childhood together. So, yes.
Yes, being able to take control of our emotional reaction, that could be one of our biggest weaknesses. And then also, because we are such great multitaskers and such great nurturers and process-oriented, that we have a weakness in focus, and so being able to really take the time to focus, teach ourselves to be better at focus consciousness, and being able to, when we want to grow or we want to do something, sometimes we got to narrow in and focus in on that. To be able to take away the 10,000 things that are on our mind, and meditate, for example.
All the plates.
Yes, all the plates, all the hats that we wear, because we're great at it, but it can roll over into one of our weaknesses. So the other weaknesses that we have are our needs. So we tend to have these needs for security, to be right, to feel important or superior. And a lot of these things will move into feelings of maybe hesitant to change, unnecessary battles, jealousy, affected by criticism, moving into competition, revenge, perfection, all of these things that judgment, feeling inadequate. There's this epidemic where women feel inadequate in their body, even, in their body and in their beauty, needing to be validated by their partner in certain ways, whether sexually or emotionally, feeling a fear of rejection, and moving that into desperation is another weakness that we have. Loss of freedom, autonomy, feeling abandoned, unvalued, or shamed. All of these things are part of where we are weak. And so we need to acknowledge those things and learn to check them and get them in check so that we can grow. And this is all part of the self-mastery component. And then when we really master ourselves, then we can move forward and apply our power or our influence or our strengths and assets in a healthy way. And when we don't do that, when we don't check ourselves and when we don't control where our weaknesses are, then we will be manipulated by our partner or by someone else in the room.
By outside circumstances.
By the circumstances, by the other people. So if we want to influence, if we want to be in our best, then we really have to take ownership, and we have to get humble and say, okay, I need to grow in this area. And notice when you go into that emotional outburst and take ownership for that and say, ooh, that was my weakness showing.
And I have something to add about body image. especially for women, and it really starts within. So I always encourage like anyone who I am having a conversation with about this is to be able to look in the mirror, or whether you're looking in the mirror or not, but just like closing your eyes maybe even and just telling yourself like, I love you. And that can be really challenging for a lot of people, and I've experienced that, that it's challenging for people as I'm a teacher and someone who guides people in that way, and it really starts within. So, and then I also wanted to add about the meditation. So, with meditation, we have this connotation that, we got to clear the mind, and that's actually a misperception. I know people, they say, I sit down and I'm full of thoughts and I can't meditate. But actually, thoughts are part of meditation. Like if you sit down and with your back supported and let your body relax and close your eyes and you're having thoughts, you're meditating, but it's actually releasing stress. The more thoughts you have in that state of eyes closed, relaxed body, focusing on your breath, having thoughts, that means that you're releasing stress because you're allowing that parasympathetic nervous system to kick in again. And so that's a really big misconception of it's not about clearing your mind, it's about focusing your mind. So whether you're focusing on your breath or maybe you're focusing on an intention or a mantra, and these are all things that we will discuss and experience in our workshop.
Yeah, and I'm super growth oriented, and my favorite kind of meditation is guided meditation. So where there is a guided mantra or thought or perspective that I'm hooking on to while I'm meditating, because to me that's the reprogramming point. It's the place to change old perceptions with new, better, stronger ones, more serving. So we'll definitely be doing some of that in our workshop. So once we do this self-mastery where we're tapping into and developing our strengths and checking our weaknesses, then we can move into our influence of others and our power or our mastery to influence. And we can't do it the other way around, because when we're trying to be influential and we haven't checked our weaknesses, well, we definitely won't be influential. We will be disrespected and disregarded. So whether we look into the relationship world or the work world, we have to really focus and work on that first. And, everything's always a growth process. It doesn't mean you have to get perfect at it, but you have to know and take ownership for it and check yourself when you see it coming out and be aware of that. So then you can master the situation, and then you can master the influence of others. And specifically in relationship, the thing is about relationships is that so much of the feminine lives in the relationship world. And that's why this is such an important topic for me to talk about, to teach, to explain, because we need to be able to resolve conflicts all the time in our relationship, and while our spouse or our partner also has an opportunity to step into that understanding and to be able to resolve conflicts with us and to step into that. It's really not their strength, it's our strength. So we're the leader, So it's like if we were to go into the work world and say, okay, I'm going to go make money, and it's like we would benefit from being guided by that male mind, that masculine mind on how to do that. And men will benefit from being guided by the feminine mind on how to move through conflict, how to communicate effectively, So how to communicate with empathy and understanding is huge.
Crystal clear communication. That's so important. And not beating around a bush or just making assumptions or assuming like, oh, my partner should know this or that, but just being like, and allowing yourself to be vulnerable and be like, you know what, I'm feeling this way and I'm thinking this and I just want to share it and share authentically, because that is so, when you step into that place, there's actually a lot of freedom, but it's definitely a place of being out of your comfort zone. But that's something we'll work on in the workshop.
Yes, so it's like being speaking your voice, which is I think what you're talking about, but then also knowing how to speak it in a way that's respectful and empathetic and going to get your point heard and received. And that's the problem that women struggle with once they start speaking their voice, because then sometimes they get into demand or expectation, or just also being a little bit too accommodating, or being still a little bit in that weakness or a little bit scared to be fully in that confidence and in our worth. And so it's being able to find that beautiful sweet spot, that middle ground where we are honoring ourselves, but also honoring our spouse and honoring the person next to us, and allowing the way that we communicate be our soft power to influence. And here's the thing, and once you learn how to do it, you will be amazed. It's like magic. It works every time. I have not seen it not work. Because I just did it with our dad the other night, where I was trying to tell him why he should not have Splenda, and he's stuck on Splenda, and so I just went and did it with the empathy and the understanding and the caring, and then. And so it's like this way that you can do it and you can influence, and it's very powerful.
And inspire.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that there's a strategy, there's a way to understand how that works, and then to tap into that strength of using it. So we're going to have to go and take our second break, and we'll be right back, and we're going to go ahead and dive into some of our other areas of influence, like our sexuality and the way that we move through conversation and influence. We'll be right back.
Did you know that SCVI has the only international baccalaureate program in our community? That means that students at Santa Clarita Valley International Public Charter School can participate in very rigorous classes run by highly trained and skilled international teachers. They work with kids to become active, compassionate, and lifelong learners. Students with IB diplomas at select colleges can graduate with a full year credit at their university. Schedule a tour today online at scvi-k12.org or by calling 705-4820.
There's a very good reason Embrace Your Smile Orthodontics has been voted #1 orthodontist in Santa Clarita 8 years in a row.
Honestly, it's our team.
Dr. Megan LeCornu.
I think for me, what makes it stand out is when I have patients that come up to me and say, we have never been in a doctor's office that feels like this. Our team is a family, and we really get along, and we are really passionate about what we do, helping our patients get the smiles they want and deserve.
Dr. Megan LeCornu of Embrace Your Smile Orthodontics.
Embrace your smile.
EmbraceYourSmile.com.
KHTS strives to give the Santa Clarita Valley all the information they need. And when our computers aren't working the way they should, we call Resurgence, your true source for IT. Resurgence provides outstanding customer service while also providing the highest technical ability. They strive to do what is best to improve and protect your business. For more information on Resurgence, call 349-4114 or go to resurgenceit.com.
Santa Clarita's premier senior living community, Oakmont of Santa Clarita, is leasing, bringing comfort and luxury to assisted living. Seniors can enjoy 5-star amenities, panoramic views, easy access to the freeways, and nearby shopping centers in a world-class community that provides an advanced continuum of care. No other community has this kind of luxury and amenities in our valley. You'll find good health, vitality, and purpose at Oakmont of Santa Clarita. Stop by for a tour. Visit oakmontofsantaclarita.com.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome to Thriving Relationships with Jessica Hartley. The following is paid programming and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of KHTS or its ownership.
welcome back to Thriving Relationships with Jessica Hartley and my co-host Liz Blake. And we have been talking all about the power of the feminine, exploring what that is, where our strengths are, where our weaknesses are, and how to step fully into that. And so we discussed some of those strengths that we need to develop. We discussed some of the weaknesses that we need to get into check. And that's all part of our self-mastery. And then once we master that, then we move into our power of influence, and using influence through our charm, through the attraction of empathy and understanding. All again, these things reside in the feminine world. It is part of our assets, our strengths. So being able to influence through these things are so important for women to understand, to step into, and to start to own, and then how to use in the way where you can really, use your voice, and then move into that sweet spot of influence, and not ever have to go into the extremes of demanding or needing or pleading or begging, any of that, and we can just be powerful in the way that we influence. The other area that I think is important to highlight is intuition. This is, again, another area that is undervalued, it's underdeveloped, and it serves such a great advantage for women in being able to make really good decisions. Sometimes we will make decisions emotionally, but really what would serve us better is if we looked at the logic and used our intuition at the same time. And our emotions are not necessarily there to help us make decisions. They're there to help us influence. And when we start to understand that and how that works, then we can use our intuition in a powerful way to guide us. It's really, we're so connected to our heart center and to the energy of that and to the feeling and into inspiration. And these are things that come up. Trust in relationship is a huge thing. I will be talking about trust on the show next week. We're going to have Reverend Ron Blair on the air with me, and we're going to dive into trust and how important it is in relationship and what are the dynamics of it and how we have it wrong. I mean, we have this idea about trust in relationship, and we've been conditioned in this way, and it really doesn't serve us. And intuition is really the thing that is a better way to step into trust with and learn to explore, really what that is all about. But intuition is huge. And just learning here's the thing about intuition. Sometimes people feel like they have this gut feeling, but it feels contracting. That's not intuition. Intuition is peaceful. It feels very peaceful. It's not a fear, So it's like learning to even notice what is intuition, when do I feel it, and how do I develop it? And it's a skill that we have to develop. If we don't use it, it just lays there dormant. And this is what all of our assets and strengths have been doing because we haven't noticed or developed them. And the other area that is important for us to notice and develop is our sexual energy. Here's the thing about our sexual energy in our society today is that it is either objectified or it's villainized, or we, either by ourselves or by others, or it's immature. And when we don't know, when something is objectified or vilified, we don't really step into it, and we don't have models that show us what does it look like to really step into my sexual energy. And then without those models, then how can we know what to do? And so then we become immature with it. And if we go into our sexual and we use our sexual energy in a way that's immature, it absolutely backfires on us because we end up going into it with a neediness for confidence, for beauty, for validation. And so then we use our sexual energy for those ways. And what happens is we attract the men that will complement that weakness. And then they will objectify us, and then they will, use us, and all these things, and they will not respect the value of it. Because the truth is, our sexual energy is very serving for ourselves and for our partner or whoever we choose to bring in. And if we are the ones that can really step into owning to choose when, with whom and if I share that sexual energy.
Wow, that's so powerful. And I know we're going to end soon, so I wanted to ask, why would someone want to come to this workshop?
Yes. Well, it would be because there are so many things that we have not realized that we are doing that keep us out of our own power. And it would be because we're struggling in relationship and it's not moving forward. And so to be able to step fully into the feminine and all of my strengths and all of my assets and use them in a way that will serve and nurture myself and the relationship. You know, to learn how to be fulfilled from within is another thing that we need to step into. And that is something that the feminine are much more closely tied to. And so there's so much that is important for us to understand as women and to share so that we can be effective and strong leaders in our relationships and good models for our children and in the world, because it's time.
Well said. Awesome. Thank you for having me so much.
Yes,
this
thank
has
you.
been so fun, and I hope to come again soon.
Yes, so we'll be doing our Sacred Feminine workshop on March 31st here at Hot for Yoga. And there's going to be, it's a hot yoga studio, but there is definitely not going to have any heat there. But we're going to have a lot of really cool stuff planned. So we'll see you guys there. Woo! And you could find it on the event on Facebook if you haven't already. And that's it. We'll see you next week for Trust.